Hello, good day, everyone. Welcome back to our lecture video series. And this time, we're still on chapter 2 for the chapter title, Unpacking the Self. And for this video, we're going to talk about another interesting topic, which is all about the spiritual self. So these are the topics or subtopics under this spiritual self. But first, let's have time to reflect on these two questions before we proceed to our main discussion. What does spirituality mean to you personally? And how has it played a role in your life? Next, if you could describe your spiritual self in just one word, what would it be and why? Now, let's proceed to the definition of spirituality. By definition, spirituality encompasses a sense of connection to something greater than oneself and involves the exploration of questions about the meaning and the purpose of life, nature and existence, the relationship between the self and the universe. Ultimately, spirituality is about the search for a deeper understanding of oneself and one's place in the world, as well as the pursuit of a more meaningful and fulfilling life. That's spirituality. So let's differentiate between soul and the spirit of man. Now, take note that both soul and spirit are the two primary immaterial aspects ascribed to humanity. By definition, in the context of etymology, Old English for soul was saul. That meant the spiritual and the emotional part of a person's animate existence. So, kaya gumagalaw ang tao or may tendency siya to animate oneself, and that is because of the soul. On the other hand, spirit is directly from Latin spiritus, meaning breathing or breathe of God. It's the breathe. Now, in another context, let's focus on the biblical beliefs on the difference between soul and spirit. For soul, it refers to the conscious, the moral, and the thinking part of the person. It is immortal. It will go to hell or heaven after the person dies. That's according to the biblical beliefs. However, when we talk about spirit, according to the Bible, this refers to the Holy Spirit. It's the third person of the Trinity of God, which bestows security and blessing upon his people. And as one develops in the faith, oneself is said to be growing spiritually. In the Western culture context, they define soul that can often be taken to mean someone's moral consciousness. Say, for example, a cruel could be said to have no soul. It's very common in our Filipino term, halang ang kaluluwa, right? And however, the spirit in the Western culture context, it may also refer to ghosts, multo, or any other supernatural beings. It is believed that the souls of people who died with unfinished business ay namamalagi dito sa planeta natin until their task is fulfilled. Kaya nga sa Western culture, uso talaga yung mga ghost stories. And lastly, if may Western culture, punta naman tayo sa Eastern culture. For the Eastern culture, soul is defined as the part of the person that has dharma. In Hinduism, dharma is one's obligation with respect to caste, social custom, civil law, and sacred law. And this dharma incurs karma. So in Hinduism and Buddhism, which are two of the most popular religion in the Eastern culture, karma is the sum of the person's action in this and previous states of existence. Siguro naman, alam natin lahat kung ano meaning ng karma. Kung ano yung mga, especially yung mga masasamang nagawa natin sa buhay natin or sa ibang tao, bumabalik daw sa atin. No? And yung mga pinagagawa natin. And also, in terms of the spirit, nature and ancestor spirits are common in the religion of Taoism and Shinto, an animistic folk religion from Japan. Places an emphasis on shamanism. Yung mga shaman, sila yung mga, tawag doon, sila yung responsible para makausap or maging mediator doon sa mga spirits na nag-stay sa earth daw accordingly to their religion. So, sila yung mga inatasan ng kataas-taasan at saka maari silang mapossess ng mga different spirits depending on the person na nagre-request para makausap yung mga kapamilya nila or mga mahal nila sa buhay. At tsaka yung mga shaman, they're also known for doing faith healing. So yun yung pagkakaiba ng soul and spirit into the different contexts. Dito sa diniscuss natin, 4 yung context na mention natin. And let's talk about the diverse views on spirituality. And it's very important to note na yung spirituality is a highly personal and subjective concept. Iba yung konsepto ko ng spirituality, iba rin yung sa'yo. So what is considered spiritual can differ greatly from one person to another. And some may find spirituality within the context of religious tradition. Pwede naman, yung spirituality is doon sa mga pinaniniwalaan natin, especially yung mga religion. Pero yung sa iba, hindi talaga nagpo-focus sa religion. May mga secular or mga non-religious approaches para ma-explore natin yung spirituality or connection na sinasabi natin kanina na meaning ng spirituality, yung connection to something greater than oneself, which involves exploration of our questions about the meaning on and the purpose of our existence. Okay? So, ito yung mga kailangan nating pag-aralan. Yung mga diverse views or perspectives or yung mga different paniniwala when it comes to spirituality. First, yung pinaka-common. Ano yung spirituality when it comes to religious view? Meron din tayong tinatawag na transcendental view. Siguro hindi common. So, yun yung pag-aaralan natin. Then, humanistic view. Meron din tayong sinasabing mindfulness view. And lastly, yung eclectic view. So, sa limang ito, magsimula tayo sa pinaka-common na view when it comes to spirituality. Dito sa religious view. Alam naman natin na ang mga tao, halos lahat tayo, may association or may mga relihiyon tayong um, in-involve, right? So, in religious view, the spiritual self or our spiritual self is characterized by its intricate and profound relationship with a higher power or divine entity. And the expression of this connection can take on various forms through yung mga customs na na-observe natin sa religion natin, yung mga doctrines, yung teachings, at kaakibat doon yung mga pagsasagawa or mga practices gaya ng prayers, mga veneration, meditation, or mga observance ng mga religious principles. Kaya naman, ang next slides, pag-uusapan natin yung mga different religion all over the world. Pero focus tayo sa mga common, no? And this next slide, I'll be talking the top 3 common religion in the entire world. So, meron tayo, makikita nyo sa matrix na ito, yung first column, ito yung mga religion, and then sino yung founder nila, ano yung sacred texts ng mga relihiyong ito, ano yung paniniwala nila sa Panginoon or sa Diyos, ano naman yung mga key beliefs or primary beliefs nila, saan sila nagsisimba, sino yung mga religious leaders, anong paniniwala nila when it comes to afterlife, ano naman yung mga religious practices, dito ano yung mga na-observe na mga holidays or holy days and festivals, and dietary restrictions, meron ba? At saka yung mga main branches. So magsimula tayo sa Christianity, which is, I do believe, dito sa Philippines, ang Christianity ang top religion. Kasi nga, tinatawag pa nga tayong Christian country in the Asia. So, ang founder ng Christianity is si Jesus Christ. At yung sacred text is tinatawag na Bible, na composed ng Old at New Testaments. Yung paniniwala nila sa Panginoon is monotheistic. Naniniwala sila na 3-in-1. Okay? God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And then, when it comes to their beliefs, Christianity, from the term, from the name Christ, they believe that salvation is through faith in Jesus Christ. Yung place of worship naman nila is church. Then yung mga religious leaders, mga clergy, priests, hindi ko na-include dito, pero including yung pastors or Bible women. And then when it comes to afterlife, they have this concept of heaven and hell. As to religious practices, they do prayers. May mga Christian church na nagsasagawa rin ng baptism. May mga Eucharist, communion, meditation. And as to days observed, yun yung mga Holy Week, Christmas, Easter, yeah. And then, pagdating naman sa mga dietary restrictions, nagde-depend yun sa kung anong denomination yung Christianity group. And for main branches, merong mga Catholic or Protestant, Orthodox. Sa mga hindi pa nakakaalam, 'di ba? Meron din mga Iglesia ni Cristo, may mga um Mormons, Latter-day Saints of Jesus, and then meron pang Baptists, meron born again, meron ding Grace Gospel Church of Christ. Okay? So next, let's have Islam. And for Islam, or they are Muslims, right? So the founder is Prophet Muhammad, and their sacred text is called Quran. And for their belief in God, they believe in one God, which is Allah. And for their beliefs, they believe in Allah and the five pillars. As to their place of worship, they gather at the mosque or the mosque. And then for religious leaders, they call it imams, muftis. And they believe that after this life, they will go, or their members will go to paradise or hell, or maybe hell. And as religious practices, they have this salah, zakat, fasting. And as to observance of days, they have this Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. And for dietary restrictions, they have this halal foods. And main branches, Sunni and Shia. Now, let's have Buddhism. So for Buddhism, the founder is believed to be Siddhartha Gautama. And for their sacred text, they call this as Tripitaka, Mahayana Sutras. For their belief in God, actually they don't believe God. There's no God. Okay? And for key beliefs, Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. Place of worship, they go to temple or monastery. For religious leaders, they follow monks, the instructions of monks or the lamas. And comparing to the Islam and Christianity, they believe that after this life, a person can be reincarnated, or there is what we call nirvana. As to religious practices, they have this meditation and more on mindfulness exercises. For days, they have what we call Vesak, Asalhap, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Puha. And then for dietary restrictions, mostly are vegetarian. And yeah, these are the three branches: Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. All right, so let's proceed. We have also Judaism. Judaism, these are Jews. The people are Jews. And their founder was Abraham, Moses, David, no? And then sacred text, they call it Tanakh or Talmud. And also their belief in God is monotheist, one God, Yahweh. For their key beliefs, they believe in covenant that was promised to Abraham and also passed through David up to Solomon. And then they have this Torah. Their place of worship for Judaism is temple or the synagogue. And their religious leaders, they call them rabbis. For afterlife, they believe in Olam Haba, the kingdom come. And then religious practices, prayer, Torah study. So they go to the synagogue, they recite the Torah. I believe the Torah are the first 5 books of the Old Testament. The Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. I forgot the other one. Pero, yun yung na alam ko when it comes to the 5 um, first books. Then for the holy festivals, holy days or festivals, they observe Passovers and Yom Kippur. Dietary restrictions, kosher. And the main branches are Orthodox. They have also conservative and reform. Now let's proceed to Hinduism. Actually, they consider as no single founder on the Hinduism. But their sacred text comes from Vedas or also Upanishad. How do we pronounce this? Upanishads. And their belief in God is polytheistic. Unlike the first 4 we have mentioned earlier, this one is believing into a polytheistic view of God. And then the key beliefs are dharma, karma, and moksha. For the place of worship, it's the temple. And for the religious leaders, they call them gurus or pandits. Just like Buddhism, Hinduism also believes in reincarnation. And their religious practices involves puja, yoga, and meditation. For holy days or festivals observed, they call it Diwali, Holi, Navaratri. And their dietary restrictions, most of them are in Hinduism are vegetarian. It varies actually. For the main branches, it's Vaishnavism and Shaivism. And this will be the last part of the matrix that I would like you to view. Let's focus on Confucianism. For the founder, it's Confucius. Sacred texts, they call them analects. Their belief in God, non-theistic. Their key beliefs is there's filial piety and virtues in life. And then place of worship, temple. Their religious leader, it's Confucius. And for afterlife, it varies because for them, just be good. Do good to others. Yeah, live a good life. And for religious practices, it's all about filial piety and doing some rituals. For the holidays, festivals, they observe Lunar New Year, Confucius, and also the birthday of their founder, Confucius. For the dietary restrictions, it varies. And the main branches, Confucianism. And last will be Shintoism. Again, no recorded single founder, but their sacred texts are found or observed in Kojiki and Nihon Shoki. The belief in God under Shintoism is just like the Hinduism, which is polytheistic. Their place of worship is at the shrine, and they call their religious leaders as priests or miko. And for afterlife, again, it varies. They observe rituals and festivals. As to observance of holidays or holy days, they have this shugatsu and festivals. And for dietary restrictions, it varies and there is no available information for main branches. So those are just few of the religion all over the world wherein we can see how they differ from one another. But this is the big idea when it comes to spirituality, because in terms of religious view, there is what we call the idea of faith. Now, faith is a deeply held belief in the doctrines, the teachings, and the principles of a particular religion. People who do religion or have their religion place their faith on what they believe as their doctrines, as their teachings, and they are guided by their faith, even if they haven't seen it. They believe it, okay? And it often involves trust and confidence in a higher power or divine being. We call it, they believe in supernatural powers or the intervention of God. And it is fundamental element of religious practice and spirituality. That's all about religious view. So not all are the spirituality is connected to a religion. That is why I said earlier that it's very important to note that our spirituality is highly personal and subjective. And we should consider that while us who are, we can be aligned to some religious views or some religious tradition, other people have their meaning of spirituality or explore their spirituality through another view or through another way of living. And we start with transcendental view. How is it differed from religious view? When it comes to transcendental view, the spiritual self is like the deepest part of you that goes beyond the everyday world. And this spiritual self is believed to be timeless and not limited by the usual rules of our physical world. It can even provide insights, sense of oneness. It's like parang nakakonect tayo sa universe kung saan tayo nakatungtong. And there's a feeling of connection to something much bigger than ourselves. So examples are meditation, contemplation, and mga self-inquiries in life. And the core of transcendental view, if in the religion, it's the idea of faith and their doctrines, teachings, and principles. Here in the transcendental view, it's the idea of unity. And it's about acknowledging the interconnection of all things and fundamental unity that binds every aspect of existence together. Naririnig ba natin or nakarinig na ba tayo ng mga mottos in life na, or I guess narinig na natin to sa mga movies, yung mga katagang ginagawa or paano ba to? Binubuklod tayo ng universe. Yung mga ganong motto in life, universe na ang nagtatagpo sa atin. So, parang yung feeling na ang sarili natin is nakakonect sa ating physical world. So, meaning to say, there is an importance of inner transformation under transcendental view. It's about deepening your awareness, your development of your sense of oneness with all the things, and cultivating qualities such as love, compassion, and non-attachment. And so, transcendence can be experienced through moments of awe or through the process of creative creative expression or spiritual reflection. So the feeling of awe at the top of the mountain, kasi may na kasulayan, no? Nakapunta na ng mga ganyang yung mga ini-indulge natin yung self natin, connecting to the nature. It feels like nakakalma tayo, nare-relax tayo. And parang isa tayo nako-connect talaga tayo doon sa nature. Okay? So, isa yung sa mga bagay na nagko-connect sa atin. And yung feeling of wonder for arts. May mga tao na kahit tumingin lang ng isang piece of art, feeling nila, kinakausap sila ng art na yun. Sila yun. Na ilalagay nila yung sarili nila dun sa art, sa exhibit, or sa museum na kung saan tinitingnan lang nila. So, yung iba, hindi masyadong nakakaintindi. Gaya ko, hindi naman ako art enthusiast or lover ng art. Mga paintings or mga other form of arts. So, parang medyo off sa akin or wala masyadong message. Pero may mga tao na malakas yung awe nila, feeling of awe when it comes to these things. And that's because of high experience of spiritual reflection. And that's what we call transcendental view. So, masyadong ibat siya sa religious view compared sa tinutukoy natin ngayon. Now, let's move forward to the third diverse view, which is, we call it humanistic view. The spiritual self is, according to humanistic view, is a core aspect of an individual's identity that encompasses their inner beliefs, values, experiences related to spirituality, and a sense of purpose. In humanistic view, our spiritual self involves intrinsic worth. Pag sinabi natin intrinsic worth, yung inside, yung talagang alam natin sa sarili natin kung ano tayo, yung worth natin, yung value natin as a person. It also involves our personal growth and fulfillment, our autonomy and choice, our self-actualization and positive view of human nature. And for humanistic view, it is focused on the innermost thoughts, feelings, and experience of the individual. So if yung religious view, yung core idea nila is yung faith, at doon naman sa transcendental view, yung core idea nila is unity. Pagdating naman dito sa humanistic view, it's the idea of self-actualization. What do we mean by self-actualization? Narinig nyo na ba yun? Yung self-actualization, it entails nurturing one's innate abilities and virtues, engaging in purposeful endeavors or pursuits, fostering constructive connection with fellow individuals. Ito yung parang nire-realize natin, mina-maximize natin yung mga potentials natin, yung mga abilities natin of doing things para ma-search natin yung ma-prove natin yung worth natin. So, ito yung core idea ng humanistic. Human, as a human. So, may pinaghuhugutan talaga tayo as a person. And another thing to emphasize in humanistic view is the importance of connecting with others. Yung kahit na nag-work ka for yourself, hindi mo nakakalimutan yung pagko-connect mo sa sarili mo sa ibang tao and building meaningful relationships based on mutual respect, empathy, and understanding, which is very reasonable because as a human as we are, we want to feel respected. We want to empathize and be empathized. We want to understand and be understood by other people. So, mutual dapat. Reciprocal. No? So, yung mga activities usually na kumokonect doon sa idea of self-actualization under the humanistic view is yung mga volunteer works. So, gumagawa tayo ng mga um, services na nakakatulong tayo sa community. So, may mga tao na heavily relied on doing. Hindi sila nagsisimba, wala silang religion, wala silang kinukumita na church. Pero, makikita mo na okay sila pagdating sa mga volunteer works. Tumutulong sila sa mga pag-i-implement ng mga laws, mga environmental advocacies. Those are just some examples. And then, for the fourth one, we have another view of spirituality in the context of mindfulness. So what does mindfulness say? And paano siya kakaiba dun sa first three views na minention natin? For mindfulness view, it emphasizes the importance of being fully present. From the term mindful, please be mindful. Meaning, nandun ka talaga. Yung hindi ka physically absent or mentally absent. Nandun ka sa experience na yun at the moment. It also emphasizes fostering inner exploration and embracing a more profound connection with the spiritual dimension of life. So, ito yung mga tao na hindi nila kailangan pumunta ng church. Hindi daw nila kailangan pumunta pa ng mga bukid or magpunta sa nature or mag-volunteer sa mga community services. Ang kailangan lang nila is magkaroon lang ng fully present-minded, may inner exploration, at nag-o-offer kasi yung mindfulness view ng pathway to deepening one's spiritual awareness and experiencing a sense of unity, peace, and transcendence. Siguro may resemblance siya sa transcendence. Pero, yun nga, hindi necessarily na pumunta ka ng mga lugar or yung pakiconnect mo doon sa natural world or the physical realms. So, hindi naman talaga necessary yung ganun. Ang importante is meron kang sense of unity, peace, and transcendence or the present moment. So, yung core essence is often defined as a deep inner awareness. Yung aware ka lang talaga kung anong mga nangyayari at the moment. Yung seize the moment. Enjoyin mo yung life mo ngayon. Huwag mo nang balikan yung mga nakaraan. Mag-focus ka sa ngayon. Yun. Yan yung mga taong ang spirituality nila is driven by mindfulness perspective or mindfulness view. And it is characterized by the present moment awareness, as I've said earlier, interconnectedness, and non-judgment. So examples under the mindfulness view, yung mga ginagawa ng mga tao na ito yung way nila para mas makilala or magka-connect doon sa sarili nila, yung self nila at sa universe at doon sa identity nila, they do meditation, mindful breathing. They also have this gratitude practice, balancing stones, gardening, and also social media detox. Okay? Yung mga nag-yoga, Yeah, considered yan. Mga pilates, yung mga exercises na ganun. Considered yan na way of mindfulness. Gratitude practice, yung kailangan lang magpasalamat sa mga blessings na natatanggap. Yung mag-focus ka, or ito yung mga tao na nagpo-focus mainly sa mga bagay na meron sila. Social media detox. So dahil nga, usually, kapag nagsa-cellphone tayo or nagagadget tayo, marami tayong naiisip. Tinatawag pa nga natin, multitasker tayo. Pero wala na yung present moment natin. Hindi na tayo nakafocus. Distracted tayo. So, mas mainam yung kahit paminsan-minsan, may gagawin tayong social media detox. For example, mag-deactivate ka for a week. Kung kaya mo, for a month. Or yung iba nga, for a year. Diba? So, pwede yung ways or way para magkaroon ng present moment. Okay? And then, lastly, is yung eclectic view. Pag sinabi natin eclectic view, from the word eclectic, meaning combination. So, it combines the four. Yung earlier, yung first four na sinabi natin. It combines elements from the diverse spiritual traditions, the philosophies, the practices, to craft an individualized, distinctive spiritual journey. Kasi nga, sinasabi na hindi naman talaga sa isang tao, hindi lang talaga religion yung nagko-connect sa kanya or nagde-develop ng spirituality niya. Paminsan-minsan, nagiging mindful siya. Paminsan-minsan, ginagamit niya yung approach ng Transcendental. Paminsan-minsan, Humanistic. Paminsan-minsan, um, ano nga yung isa? Humanistic, Mindfulness. So, yung apat na yun. So, hindi necessarily na ang isang tao, isa lang yung way to explore spirituality. So, a series of events, pero kinocombine mo yung mga views of ways to explore your spirituality. Okay? So, there is the tendency for individuals to embrace this approach, eclectic. And the core of this is the idea of personal choice and freedom. Lahat tayo may freedom, may choice. So, kung sa Bisaya pa, walay magbuot, no? Ako ini gusto. So, you have the free will. And it is also about the idea that there is no one right way to approach spirituality. So, there is no perfect way. Kasi, even nga yung religion, maraming religion. So, iba-iba. Yung isang relihiyon, bawal to. Pero dun sa kabila, pwede. So, paiba-iba. And sometimes, yung mga tao, nako-confuse sa spirituality nila kasi iba-iba yung nalalaman nila. So, yun. May mga tao na hindi nagsisimba, pero alam nila kung ano yung nasa Bible. Alam nila kung sino si Jesus. Alam nila kung ano yung kaibahan ng mga religions. So, yeah. Ito yung sinasabi natin simply na eclectic. May mga tao na eclectic view yung exploration nila when it comes to their spirituality. And in the eclectic view, it emphasizes openness, curiosity, and willingness to explore new ideas and views in order to create a more meaningful and fulfilling life. So those are the 5 diverse views on spirituality. What was that? Or what are those views? First, religious views. And then transcendental views. Third one is the humanistic. Fourth one is the mindfulness. And lastly, the eclectic view. So don't forget that. So these are the spiritual practices across the different views that were mentioned earlier. We have here several examples from meditation down to many more. Oh, kasi limited lang yung nalagay ko rito, pero I'm sure madaming pang practices na ginagawa ng mga different spiritual views or diverse views on spirituality. So kaya naman, may quick checklist tayo when it comes to the 5 different views with the spiritual practices na na-mention natin from the previous slide. So nakikita nyo dyan, both dito sa religious, present yan. And sa eclectic, present lahat. So nagkakaiba lang dito when it comes to transcendental, humanistic, and mindfulness. Diba? Sa meditation, present naman, nandun yan sa religious, pinapractice yan sa transcendental, sa humanistic, sa mindfulness, eclectic. Sige, hanap tayo ng wala. Okay, for example, ritual and ceremony. So sa religious, expected, meron yan. At sa eclectic. Pero pagdating sa transcendental, humanistic, mindfulness, hindi naman talaga necessary na gagawa pa ng mga ritual and ceremony. No? Example, what else? Prayer. Okay. So sa transcendental, humanistic, and mindfulness, hindi rin necessary na ginagawa nila yung prayer. Okay? Now, of course, dito pa lang sa checklist na to, or sa matrix na to, pinapakita sa atin na iba-iba talaga yung mga pananaw sa spirituality. So kung ikaw yung tatanungin, paano mo i-deal yung mga tao na iba sa paniniwala mo? No? Paano mo i-deal? So proceed tayo. Kasi challenging yung malaman mo na yung kasamahan mo sa trabaho, classmate mo, friends mo, iba kayo ng paniniwala when it comes to spirituality. So paano mo, ikaw as a person, paano mo gagawin or paano ka makikipag-usap sa or mag-maintain sa relationship mo sa mga tao na yon? First, respect their beliefs. Kasi nga, iba-iba tayo ng paniniwala. So you start by acknowledging and respecting their perspective. You need to understand that spiritual beliefs are often personal, deeply personal, and maybe a significant part of their identity. So yun yung nakagisna nila. So you respect their beliefs. Second, practice active listening. You listen attentively to what they have to say without interrupting or immediately offering your own perspective. Say, for example, may issue kayo when it comes to abortion. So, ikaw as a Christian, of course, may gusto ka nang sabihin kasi biblical nga. Pero yung kausap mo, wala namang paniniwala sa Diyos. Or hindi naman siya particular doon. So, siguro, makinig ka muna kung anong sasabihin niya para hindi siya mag-steer up ng quarrel. Diba? So, and this will help you understand their beliefs better and show that you value their viewpoint. Pakinggan mo muna. Kasi, ang karamihan sa atin, parang gusto talaga natin makipagdebate. Parang gusto natin na awayan sila, no? Gusto natin patunayan na tama tayo. So, wag. makinig muna tayo kung anong sasabihin nila. Kasi for sure may pinaguhugutan ang mga taong yan. Bakit nasasabi nila na iba yung paniniwala nila sa paniniwala mo? Next, find common ground. Especially kung yung mga kausap mo or mga nakakahalubilo mo are mga acquaintances lang. So, you identify shared values or principles to build understanding and connection. Kasi doon nagsisimula yung intimidation. Wala kasi kayong common ground. At hindi ka open to understanding the person. So, ikaw, para makakonect ka, siguro, mas mainam na mag-start kayo. Ano ba yung common grounds? For example, ano ba yan? For example, magtanong ka regarding sa experience niya sa isang travel. Yun. So, pag nag-open up siya doon, so, posible, doon na magsa-start yung mga conversation, yung mga deep conversations nyo. And then, magfa-follow na. Instead na, minsan kasi, pag nakikita mo na may sign na pwede kayong mag-away, siguro umiwas tayo. Pwede naman tayong mag-usap muna ng ibang topic. Yung common ground, common interest na hindi kayo nag-aaway. Kasi pareho kayong may pinaglalaban. And then, agree to disagree. Paano ba yan? Agree to disagree. So you recognize that it's okay to have different beliefs and avoid pushing your own views onto them. Yung problema sa karamihan or sa iba is, yes, may belief siya. Pero ini-insist, ini-impose sa ibang tao yung gusto nilang mangyari. So, doon pa lang, nagkaka-problema na. So, may tension na. So, it's better to recognize na okay rin na may iba-iba tayong paniniwala. Pero wag mong i-push yung mga gusto mong sabihin. Especially if hindi naman ito nakaka-build up sa kanya sa person. And lastly, educate yourself. You take the initiative to learn about their beliefs, promoting understanding and reducing misunderstandings. You can go search, no? Search online. Search maybe the doctrines if different yung religious views nyo. Coming from the other perspectives as well, maybe you can search more about those people who exercises mindfulness views, transcendental views, humanistic views. So educate yourself, just like this. Through learning that there are different beliefs or views aside from religious views, so you know now how to step up or how to also put boundaries as to insisting your mga pinaglalaban na mga kaalaman when it comes to spiritual views. Okay? And now, I hope may natutunan kayo when it comes to dealing with people. Kasi pinag-uusapan natin to kasi issue talaga yung spirituality. Yun. It's about our connection, no? It's about exploring the purpose of our existence. That's spirituality. At iba-iba yung mga paniniwala at pamamaraan ng isang tao para malaman niya kung anong purpose niya sa mundo. Okay? So in conclusion, our spiritual self is an integral part of our overall identity and well-being. And that's definitely correct. It encompasses our beliefs, values, and sense of purpose, which can vary widely among individuals. Nurturing our spiritual self is a deeply personal journey that often involves self reflection, exploration, and a quest for meaning in life. And it's very essential to respect and understand that spirituality comes in various forms and expressions, and that diversity or differences in spiritual beliefs is a reflection of the rich tapestry of human existence. Embracing our own spiritual self and respecting the spiritual paths of others, it can lead you to a more inclusive and harmonious world where individuals coexist with empathy, tolerance, and mutual respect. And lastly, for this key point, ultimately, our spiritual self is a source of inner strength and guidance, helping us navigate life's challenges and find purpose and fulfillment. So that would be all under the topic, the spiritual self.